Three, two, and one, as we say in the world of television. What's up, good peeps? Good to see y'all. Hope y'all have enjoyed the WNBA Playoffs 2023 so far. This is the morning after show where we're going to be talking about whatever happened last night. It's about last night or the night before, and then we're going to take a look ahead at the games coming up. So today we're talking about the New York Liberty versus the Washington Mystics, and the Dallas Wings versus the Atlanta Dream. For those of you who didn't get an opportunity to see that, haven't looked at it online, New York Liberty defeated the Washington Mystics 90-75 in Game 1 to take a Game 1 a 1-0 lead. And then the Dallas Wings in a thrilling competition versus the Atlanta Dream in Dallas defeated the Dream 94-82 to take a 1-0 lead. So let's talk about how the morning after show is going to go. This is the format. Four tenets, four pieces of the morning after show. I'll do a quick game summary, kind of like what I thought about the game. I'll talk about the stars and the slugs because all games have superstars and all games have slugs. And then we're going to talk about what had happened, like how it got to be the game that it got to be. And then the last part are my thoughts on adjustments that the teams need to make if they want to beat the team that beat them in the first game. And we call that segment Fix It, Jesus! All right, y'all ready for it? Game summary, stars and slugs. See what had happened was, and fix it, Jesus. All right, let's jump in to the New York Liberty game versus the Mystics. Overall, I thought this was a game that the New York Liberty didn't have they weren't in full command the entire game, but when Sabrina Ionescu, that's all I have to say, when Sabrina Ionescu started to do what Sabrina Ionescu does, then it became an interesting game. So let's talk about that quick summary. Sabrina had 29 points. She made 7 threes. J2, Jonquel Jones, had 20-12. Her line was 20-12, 20 points, 12 rebounds. Stewie had only 10 points and didn't have a great game, as most of y'all know. And Betnijah Chaney, what? 19 points? All right, so that's kind of the overall picture of what New York was able to do. But I got to tell you, it's when they started to break out with those threes where it became a whole different ball game. As y'all know, because y'all are basketball fans, 3 is more than 2, right? 3 is more than 2. I'm being crazy, but 3 is more than 2. And when somebody starts rattling off threes, you need to make some change. But we're going to talk about that in the Fix It Jesus part of the show. So that was kind of what happened. With the Mystics, I really didn't feel like Elena Della really got into her groove. Ariel Atkins had some good looks, but it wasn't an outstanding performance by her either. Rennie Sykes was warrior mentality, but there was just something off about the Mystics' chemistry yesterday. And I don't necessarily mean something has to be going on in the locker room. I mean just on-court chemistry. There was something that was a little bit off. And maybe it was that Elena wasn't playing great. Maybe it was that Natasha Cloud didn't have an outstanding game where she was contributing not only just from her mentality and her spirit on the court, but also from scoring. So the lines weren't that great for the Washington Mystics. Now, when we start to talk about, if we look at the kind of the formula again, what had happened was exactly what I said, right? Like you got the stars, you got the people who were standing out. But what had happened was for the Washington Mystics is that they never really got into their flow. And honestly, I didn't think New York was in a terrific flow either until Sabrina Ionescu started to shoot those threes and really get the crowd into it. And Betnijah Chaney was doing what she does. She is so consistent for that team that I think when she lifts them to another level, that people don't talk a lot about that. They talk about Stewie. They talk about Jonquel Jones. They talk about Sabrina Ionescu. But what they don't talk about are the huge contributions that Betnijah Chaney makes to the spiritual aspect of the game. It's very much a spiritual environment when you're out there playing basketball. It's mental, it's spiritual. And she adds something to that because she's just steady. So I want to give Betnijah her flowers because they were really important. When you played on really great teams, I played for the Houston Comets on their first championship team. I played at the University of Texas on an undefeated championship team in NCAA 34-0. I played on USA national teams. I've played on a lot of great teams. And when you feel that energy from a certain player who they're just about their business. They're not seeking awards. They're just going to work. They're putting the hard hat on and they're going to work. And that's Betnijah Chaney. So I want to give her flowers because even though we're going to talk about Sabrina Ionescu a lot, that's what the media is going to focus on. The announcers are going to focus on that. It's those other players that really elevate the team. So shout out to Betnijah Chaney. That New York could win that game one without Stewie balling outrageous is a tribute to New York. It's a tribute to Sandy Brondello and her ability to get more players involved and more players ready to play. There's no doubt about it. When you have superstars on your team, you expect them to do what they do. You expect superstars to do what superstars do. And so I'm sure New York was just as astounded as most of the people watching the game on television were to see Stewie kind of struggling, right? And that New York could actually elevate and ascend without Stewie playing well is not good news for the Washington Mystics. Now, if I turn my attention to the Washington Mystics, you got to find a way to get Elena Della Donne some good and easy looks. You just do. You got to find a way to get her as the catalyst in your offense. Washington is better when they have 3 to 5 players clicking. And the thing about Washington is that it doesn't matter which 5 it is. That's kind of their thing. It doesn't matter which 5 it is. But 5 of them need to be clicking. Sometimes it's going to be Sykes and Cloud and, players who don't play a whole lot. It's going to be Hines. Sometimes it's going to be Elena Della Donne, Ariel Atkins, right? It doesn't matter for Washington, but they need at least 5 people balling for them to really feel in command of the game. Not every team is like that, but I've watched Washington enough to know they are better when more people are in the mix and having a great game. Now let's not ignore the fact that Shakira Austin did not play. Last year, all WNBA rookie, very big part of what the Washington Mystics do. She's not in the mix. That does change things. All right. So let's talk about how Jesus needs to fix it. What adjustments do the Washington Mystics need to make to sneak the game 2 out and go back to DC for game 3? Number 1, I said what I said. You got to figure out a way to get Elena Della Donne more in the mix of the offense. Number 2, Natasha Cloud has to play better. Nobody's shocked. She's heart and soul, very much a piece of the heart and soul of the Washington Mystics. She has to play better. And that includes facilitating, and it also includes getting hers. Natasha Cloud doesn't have to score 30 points or 20 points for the Washington Mystics to be successful, but she has to be a threat. Because here's what happens when your point guard, who is a scoring kind of point guard, Natasha Cloud said it last season, I'm a shooter. Okay, let's see you. Let's see you, sis. Let's see you shooting. Let's see you making, because it's one thing to be a shooter and another thing to be a maker. So Natasha Cloud has to be a threat. When she's a threat, Washington is better. So when she's creating, when she's not only knocking down her shots, but she's getting everybody involved and getting the right people involved, Washington, very different. Now, here's what I know to be true about Washington. Ariel Atkins is going to be steady. She's going to play on both ends of the floor. What I know about Washington is that you got at least 2 or 3 folks coming off the bench. I can't think of her name. Shatori. Can't think of her last name. Sorry about that. But you got her. You got Hines. You got at least a couple of people coming off the bench who are going to contribute 6, 7, 8, or whatever. It's time for them to elevate. If you're going to get game 2 in New York, you got to have literally 7 outstanding performances. They don't have to all be over the top, but you've got to have at least 7 outstanding performances, the Washington Mystics, including some folks coming off the bench, to be able to take game 2. Now, if here's the thing, if New York has a similar performance that they had in game 1, it's over. It's over. 7 threes? 7 threes? Fix it, Jesus. Jesus, you got to get a hand up. You got to get out there and get over those picks. That's how you fix this. That's how you adjust. It's no secret that Sabrina Ionescu is a 3-point threat. Assassin. Killer. You got to get over those. You got to get over those pick, go over, go under, go through, get on a train, whatever you have to do. You've got to get a hand up and you've got to make Sabrina Ionescu beat you off the dribble. That's the adjustment. Give her a 2 off the dribble, not a 3 without a hand up. All right, that's all I got to say about that. All right, let's move on to game 1 of the Dallas Wings and the Atlanta Dream. Let's do the summary. Dallas won. Where's my score? Come on, people. What did I do with my score? Let's go back to the other thing. Oh, yeah, this is real time, y'all. We got to get that score. Where are we? Score. Come on, boo-boo. There we go. Dallas 94, Atlanta 82. Now, listen, y'all. It was kind of late to watch this game, but Dallas-Atlanta game is already becoming one of the most exciting games of the 2023 playoff season. Thriller, absolutely a thriller. They were rocking the park. That's Dallas's facility, College Park. That place, I wish I had gone to that game. That place was crazy. The lid was coming off of, so it was a great atmosphere. Let's start there. But the summary of the game is that Atlanta had a 20-point lead, and Dallas came back. If you don't read nothing else, Atlanta had a 20-point lead, and Dallas came back and won that game. That's the summary of the Dallas-Atlanta game. But the question becomes, who were the stars and how did it happen? The stars, just to give you a summary. Let's get these glasses on. Arike Ogunbowale had 24 points. Tiara McCowan had 17 points. But the star? The star? Satou Sabally. 32 points. 30 piece. But the real star, and nobody's talking about her. Nobody's talking about who the real star was of the game, the Dallas-Atlanta game. It was Dallas's defense. Oh, yeah, they need to give her a name, give her a jersey, give her a locker. Dallas's defense was the star. When they were down 20 and it looked like Atlanta was like chilling in the cut, Dallas's defense said, oh, y'all sleeping on me? Y'all sleeping on me? That's what y'all, for real? That's how y'all feel, Atlanta? The defense of Dallas was insane. Crazy defense. Now, it's been there all season. I'll talk about Latricia Trammell's ability to get a team that was kind of in the dumps to buy into defense. We can talk about that on another show. But that's what happened last night. Yeah, Satou was balling. Yes, Arike was balling. Yes, Natasha Howard got some great steals. Yes, Tiara McCowan was. Yes, Odyssey Sims showed up. All yes. All the yes to the Mississippi's of all of that is, as my girl, one of my Facebook friends says, to the Mississippi's. All of that is true. Teach Merger, that's her name. Teach says yes to the Mississippi's. Yes to all of that. But until Miss Defense showed up, Dallas was about to lose that game. They came back 20 points because defense decided she wanted to play. She went to the locker room, went into the booth, put her jersey on, and said, "Let's go." I got excited about this, didn't I? Because it was fun to watch. It was crazy to watch that. I'm a fan of the W. So I want the W to look good. I don't have a dog in the fight. So I was cool when Atlanta was doing what it was doing. I was like, okay, this is going to be a good game. But when Dallas's defense showed up, I was like, this is about to be a crazy, this is about to be a game that goes down in the books as one of the greatest of all time, greatest comebacks of all time. So what had happened was Dallas's defense showed out, showed up, showed out, had a Coke, had some popcorn, crazy atmosphere, the defense. All right, so now we move on. Rhyne Howard, I would be remiss if I didn't say that Rhyne Howard had a great game. 32, Rhyne Howard was outstanding. But what had happened is that Atlanta kind of crumbled. Now, there's a lot of people who say, oh, there's no way you lose a 20-point game, a lead, 20-point lead, and there's no way that happens. That happens. It actually happens, but it shouldn't happen. Because when you see a team, not only the momentum shifts, right? When the momentum shifts, what y'all got to know, and some of y'all know this because you've played sports, that does something to you on the court. When a team that you had down, you had literally kind of kicked them over to the curb, like with your dirtiest sneaker, you kicked them over. It's like, yo, y'all can't play. That's essentially when you get a 20-point lead on somebody, you're basically saying your game is trash. But you got to close that deal. You got to close that deal. When you get somebody down by 20 points, you got to close that deal. You do not let them up. You do not let them look up. You do not let them get up. And that was the problem last night. Complacency. That is the only way a team comes back from a 20-point lead. I've been on both ends of that. There's something that happens when you get up. If you don't have a mature team, if your team is not very mature, if your team is not used to being in that situation, there's something that happens in your head that says, we got this. I don't care what anybody tells you. That is how it goes. We got this. Oh, they ain't coming back with 20 points, right? And that's when captain or coach, take your pick. It doesn't have to be the captain. It doesn't have to be the coach. But captain or coach has to say, yo, this is some BS. Let's go. You got to make adjustments. You have to adjust to their adjustments. I don't know what didn't happen, but there were no adjustments made. And because there were no adjustments made, Dallas got their confidence back in their building, and then they took it to the house. That, my friends, is what happened last night. And that, my friends, is the adjustment that Atlanta has to make in Game 2. Game 2 is Tuesday for these four teams. Tuesday, the 19th of September. Adjustments have to be made. If adjustments are not going to be made, I see both of these teams. New York will sweep the Mystics, even though I said the Mystics were going to win. If no adjustments are made, no, they ain't going to win. And Dallas will sweep Atlanta at home Tuesday, September 19th. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. Let me know what your predictions are for the series, not just this series, but the Vegas Chi-Town series, as well as the Sun and the Minnesota Lynx. I'll do a show, probably a pregame show for one or both of those series, and I'll definitely do the morning after show. If y'all like this, let me know in the comments. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace.